Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope you are all doing well. I am so excited for this video. It's probably one of my favourites. I ordered, bought and paid for some foils. Now, these are holographic foils that work really well in resin, and I got them from Natasha Impey from Resin Supplies Den on Facebook. Now, Resin Supplies Den on Facebook is a page that can find you whatever you need for resin. And Dennis, who runs the Facebook page, told me Natasha is my girl. If I want foils, contact Natasha. So I told Natasha about this mold. I said I have this 9 pendant mold from Molds and Shapes. All of the details for this mold, by the way, will be in the description box down below alongside your discount code. And I told her that each cavity is 5.5 centimeters across, and I want some witchy style, any kind of witchy aesthetic foils to go in and fit in to each of these cavities. So Natasha then sent me a whole bundle of images. I chose my images, and that was all I had to do. It was so easy to order from her, sent over a PayPal payment, and they arrived in the post within days. So I was honestly just so happy. I ordered more, so I actually can't get enough. I know I am late to the foils in resin thing, but I can't tell you how satisfying it is to work with foils. They just make me happy. They make me smile from ear to ear. Okay, back to the video. As you saw there, I showed you the resin that I'm using for the first layer. Now, these are a multiple layer project, and that is because we need a backing colour, we need to lay the foils down, and then we need a top coat as well. So there are multiple layers in this project. The first layer of resin, just purely for speed and convenience and happiness, I am using the 2-hour cure epoxy resin by Just For You Online. Again, I am a Just For You Online affiliate, so all of the details for that will also be in the description box. I'm just going with any colour at this point because these foils are totally holographic and multicoloured. I asked for a silver holographic, but with the silver comes a whole array of rainbow colours that just work with any background, literally any background. So it just gives you the freedom to create and do as many colours as you wish. Now, we all know, if you've been following me through this Halloween season at least, you'll know that really purples is my go-to. Purple and black is my go-to Halloween colour. But, you know, I got a bit crazy. I got a bit wild, if you can describe it as wild. I decided to use a combination of purples, pinks, blues and blacks. And blue is definitely a colour I've never really associated with Halloween. I use blues mostly in the summer for my oceans, or even at Christmas for that kind of icy, frosty snow effect. But the holographic does have a gorgeous blue in there, and I figured it would just work beautifully. Now, of course, we had to try black because you know these foils are gonna pop with a black background. So the brands, I haven't really run through them because the company no longer exists, but the top right is Resin Pro. They are still around. The top right is a beautiful purple from Resin Pro. Then we have pink, purple and blue from a company that no longer exists. That's the Colour Cottage. So any micas really will do. And then the black, of course, is my go-to pigment from Vista. That is the black liquid pigment. It is a beautiful dream to work with, as are all of their liquid pigments. Now, because this is a 2-hour cure resin, I always worry about bubbles in this kind of resin, so I do really attack them with my heat gun. 2 reasons. One, to get any potential air bubbles out that may be seen in the finished product, and secondly is to move the micas around and get some kind of pretty pattern in the mica. It sometimes helps to swoosh them around with a bit of heat. This is around 4 hours later, just later in the day, and then it was time to choose my foils. Now, here's the thing. I chose these foils. Natasha sent me over tons of images and I circled them. And I was like, I want this one, this one, this one, this one, and this one. And I want them cut so that they fit within a 5.5 diameter pendant mold. Look how perfect. How perfect. Do these fit, guys? And I mean, again, not sponsored. I've never spoken to Natasha before this. This was my first time working with her and ordering from her. She did all of these images based on what I selected. But on the day, when it came to making these pendants, I didn't choose every single one. There were just some that were singing to me more than others, even though I picked them. I selected them. It's funny, isn't it, how the brain works sometimes? On the day, I wasn't feeling all of them. So I decided to just choose a few that made my heart sing and go with that. Now, to lay my foils down, I'm going to smush them in with my hands. So make sure you've got your gloves on. With this one in particular, I love it. I love anything to do with moon phases. I just think it's the most beautiful image. I've cut the full moon out so that it fits directly in and I don't have to worry about the loophole. The loophole now becomes the full moon, if that makes sense. Hope that makes sense. I've cut it out so it fits bang on in there. And then I'm just putting it down in with my hands. Well, it was at this point I thought, actually, let me hit these with some heat. Just hit them with a bit of heat. Not much. We're not going crazy. The resin I'm using here is actually the Just For You Online 20-hour cure resin. It's crystal clear. Absolutely crystal clear. So I'm not going to worry too much about the heat. I just wanted to make it a little bit more fluid and have a bit more kind of wiggle room. And yeah, like I said, I'm literally just placing them down in the center. I'm folding them a little bit, not folding, but just bending them a little bit so that they work their own way in there. I'm not just putting them straight down. So you see here, I'm bending it a little bit and I'm just allowing the foil itself to work its way into the resin. This is just in case. If you throw it in flat straight away, there's a chance that you will knock air into the resin or you'll capture air in the resin, and I didn't want to do that. I just wanted to lay it down super slowly and let it do its thing. But again, I am using my hands at this point. You could use a silicone tool or a silicone brush or anything that would be easier for you instead of your hands. I just find using my hands so much easier. With these moon ones, these witchy moon ones, I did have to cut out right at the top a couple of little stars that you probably won't have even noticed, just so that I could hook the tip of the moon around the loophole. I just felt like it would work better. It looked nicer. And yeah, I just, honestly, you do what you want. That's the beauty. You do what you feel that you want to do at the time. And for me, this is what worked best. Like cutting out the full moon on the woman that's sitting down with the moon phases. It just made it easier for me to get it central, and it really just worked so much better. Here you just see me again clipping around the witchy moon. Now again, I know I've only chosen 3 of the images that were on that whole sheet, but the star didn't fit directly in. I'd have to tilt it, and I wasn't really happy to have to tilt it, so that would need to go in a slightly bigger pendant. And there was another image as well that I just didn't feel. I wasn't feeling it, even though I ordered it. I hope I'm making sense, guys. Anyway, with the rest, I'm just pouring another little bit. We're not filling them up at this point. We're just making sure that these foils are truly embedded in the resin. Now, I have pushed them all down and squished them in with my hands, gloved hands. And now I've just added a little bit of resin on top, a little bit of heat, and we're going to leave this for another day. So, like I said, this is kind of lengthy, but it's totally worth every day that you have to do a layer. The first thing to note here is that I did clean up around the edges. So, using resin can get messy if you are new to resin. It can get a little bit sloppy and a little bit messy, but what you want to make sure is that you don't have any residue on the outer edge of these pendants, because when it comes to top coating, there's a risk that it will pull the resin out of the mold and up and over the sides. So just make sure all your edges are nice and clean and neat. Did Claire's Crafty Corner just say neat? Yeah, I think I did. Oh, we can see how much that all paid off when it comes to demold. Now, to finish these off, I'm using a resin I've not actually used before. I can't believe I'm saying that out loud, and I don't know why. This is the Let's Resin Standard Resin. So 24-hour, perfect for coasters, all of that jazz. This is the Let's Resin Standard Resin. I've used the 4-hour cure and I've used the deep pour, but I've not used this one yet. I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure I've not used this one yet. This is crystal clear as well. Honestly, as crystal clear as the Just For You online. It truly is. It is beautiful. And I was kind of nervous. The UK were expecting a cold snap and it came. Boy, did it come. I'm freezing today. I'm so cold. Look at this overspill. That's not because I left residue around the edge. That's because I live in an old house, and one day when I grow up and I become an adult, I'm going to have flat surfaces. Until that day comes, we carve, okay? We carve. But look at these. Guys, I am in love with these. I think that these are probably up there as some of the neatest, I know, can you believe it? Neatest key rings I've ever made. The foils are stunning. Look at this shimmer. The holographic is absolutely beautiful. I just love them. I mean, I've got no other words. I was worried. Like I said, we were expecting a cold snap. So the reason I was worried is because I was kind of nervous that I would wake up and find that they hadn't cured, or that there was some amine blush on the top, because the temperature was set to truly plummet. I'm not ready to put my heating on. I could have sat them on my heat mats overnight, but my heat mats appear to be slightly buckled. They're no longer super flat. So at this point, I've used them so much I didn't trust them. But yeah, I absolutely love the background colors. No matter what you choose, just seem to work with these foils. Even if you chose a yellow, you can see yellow and green in there as well, like the pink as well. I'm not a pink girl, but this works. I don't know if you can tell, but the Witchy Vibes foil is definitely my favorite. And this one with the Wiccan festivals, I think this would be gorgeous in a huge tray. It's got Yule on there, Beltane, Samhain. It's got all of them all in a circle. And I just think that would be absolutely gorgeous, like huge. A4 size huge. Now with the one that spilled over, I really am just carving it off. This is not ideal. Now I'm getting it to a point where it's okay. If you were going to a craft market, really and truly you want to spend time sanding this baby back, you can go from kind of around about 1000 grit all the way up to 10,000 grit to bring it back to being shiny, so that you don't really notice this. You can see here, you can really see where I've just carved off. Because the overspill was super chunky, it's going to leave a mark. But like I said, for me, I am not about to sand to 10,000 grit. Thank you very much. It's too cold. But again, if you are seriously taking things to a craft fair, or if you're selling on your Etsy or online, you really do want to spend time making that perfectly shiny so that it's not so noticeable. But guys, look at this purple. I'm obsessed. I am fully in love with these. Like, there is absolutely no doubt in my mind. I am a foil convert. I'm not even a convert. I was never against foils. I just never tried them. I just love them so much. They're everything to me right now. Cannot wait to try more foils. And yeah, here they are, all key ringed up. Again, you could add more to these. You could make them more. But for me, these are, like I said, near the beginning, probably the neatest, coolest key rings. Excuse me, I'm so cool at my ripe old age. I think they're gorgeous. I think they're absolutely beautiful. Again, I got the foils from Resin Supplies Den. I'm going to leave the details for the foils provider from Resin Supplies Den. But again, this is not sponsored, guys. I bought these myself, paid for them, ordered them. all is well. Just so you know, I do not earn anything. I'm not an affiliate in any kind of way. And the blue, guys. I'm in love. I'm in love. I've got no other words. I hope you have been inspired by these. And if you are interested in the foils, again, I've left it all down below. Anything else you need to know will all be in the description box of where to get your mold, your resin, your colours, anything like that are all linked on my Amazon storefronts. And I will see you all in the next video. Bye.